welcome to another episode of the SmaxTalk Podcast. We are here after the quarterfinal matchups in the Academy League, and tonight I am joined by both Aerys and Elvis from Soulbound Tsunami, the victorious gamers here against Lost Collective, going into semis. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. Great.
Pretty good.
That is excellent
Here.
news. I'm so glad you guys are finally here on an episode. I'm so glad you won against
After
Lost
weeks
Collective.
of begging to be here, I'm here. You gave me. You said if you get to semis, you could be here. You said that only because you thought we lose. But look where we are.
That's not the only reason I said it.
That is 5% the reason why you said it.
That may be one of the reasons why I said it, but that's not the only reason.
What? One of two?
No, there were. I wanted to see you guys, try a little bit harder, because it seemed like you guys have been playing with your food the whole time.
That is true.
But that kind of still continued, and you still won. So.
Yeah, it's easy league. What can I say? I asked before and I asked again. When's it start getting hard? I've been told it's start getting hard at playoffs, but we're halfway through. Still not hard.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. You guys just kind of stomping all over everyone in your path. What's the win streak now? It's like 16.
17, 18,
15 or 16 game? Yeah, I think it's that.
It's
high.
pretty big. Let me fact check this exactly here real quick, but it's something very high because it's been 6 games in a row in the playoffs, and then let's look. It is 8.
I mean,
in the regular season in a row. So and there was a tiebreaker too. So that means it is at 15 right now.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Pretty big.
Like I said, when we started trying a little bit, then we win every single game. First 2-3 weeks,
I mean, the thing that's scary is that I don't think you're at 100% yet. It's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I hope not. I hope that you guys pull out some other crazy stuff. I hope you crowdsource your support pool again. That was pretty fun.
For sure wants to.
Yeah,
he does want to.
I want to see it. I liked as much as I dislike Shaco as a champion. It was fun to watch. And then his Gragas, I think, has been unironically the cleanest of the entire playoffs so far.
Hell, okay. I remember I saw you said he had the best Gragas in PRL. Does he have the best Gragas in our team? Like, what do you mean? He made one good play.
Your top Gragas is pretty good too.
I know, better than Havoc's, that's for sure.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
his was really
I think
good.
the best Gragas on this team is Ben.
Hell no. Fuck that guy.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
He's also pretty good. I'm really glad he's playing now. Like he took a few
He got
weeks
banned.
off.
Yeah, weeks off.
Yeah. I'm glad he's back and
Involuntarily.
changing his name again and
Oh, he does that a lot.
yeah.
He goes from region to region all the time, so you're gonna we'll probably not see it change again, but yeah, it happens every so often.
Fair enough. Someone that we asked to change their name still has not done that.
Well, I'm spending $10 on the fucking name changer.
True. I think it's all behind us at this point. So.
Yeah.
You know.
Surfer count is the worst name, but you know.
Yeah.
It is his account with the least offensive name. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. After reading the other ones, I agree, unfortunately. But anyway, let's jump into your series here against Lost Collective, because this one was the first one we did watch, and of course we got you two on the podcast as well. So looking to get some insight. I alluded to it a little bit before. Core Havoc did ask the people what to play for support. We got Luden's Echo Janna, we got Shaco, and then he cheated and picked Gragas because he thought it would be fun.
He's dumb.
I'm pretty sure he went fully P Gragas though.
He did, yeah.
He went like pro mode and shit.
Yeah,
So
that's still not Gragas support.
yeah, I only played one game that series because that game was scheduled on a Thursday, the one day I can't play because I have OEL. However, I was worried that if I played that series and we lost game 1, and I like had to do my other thing and we won the rest of the series, I would look so. I'm glad I won that game.
Yeah. I mean, Noah did really well.
He
Like,
did.
I want to give him credit. Him and Havoc looked very solid bot.
Yeah.
they played it really well. I think.
Even with the
Yeah,
meme champions, they looked really good.
of course. Yes.
Yeah, Triforce Senna, no farm. What a
I mean,
genius.
all I knew going to that series was Noah was pretty rusty, and then Havoc DMs me and tells me that he's super sick, that he has
Yeah,
a
it is
big
stomach
headache and he has
virus.
food poisoning.
Ouch.
So he's like, I'm dying, and then he's also picking like Shaco support and stuff like this. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pulled through.
Yeah.
My thoughts going on that series, I thought it was going to be a lot harder, honestly, because everyone was hyping these players up, but they're all just so garbage. Like, honestly, like, I felt I only played one game. However, during that one game, I felt like, who would I play? I played Shannon to Ornn. That dude, that top laner, what's his name? Actually,
Actually,
AFK,
AFK, yeah.
probably the second worst top laner I played against. The worst was that Cyan guy. That guy was garbage. But that is definitely a second. So bad. He had no idea what he was doing. He's playing Ornn too. How do you mess that up?
Yeah. I can't disagree with you. I thought it would be a lot harder for you guys as well. I obviously predicted against you, but
Mhm.
yeah, the main player that I thought would be the difference maker wasn't. Griffin did not have a really good series at all in any of the games, and yeah, it was really sad to see a player like that come into
Yeah.
his first best of 5 here at the Phoenix Rising, and uh, he shit the bed. I can't really say it any other way.
I knew he was gonna do bad because it pains me to say this because they're gonna watch and make fun of me. But I know Ben is really so. I knew he was much better than Griffin. Like people
Yeah.
rate him as number one, but I feel like people are just fanboying him too much. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying compared to like Ben, he is bad. Like, I just knew.
I mean, one thing that I think didn't play in Griffin's favor, because I don't think Griffin played that bad. But I do think that he
Me
was
too.
not expecting to face off against a good jungler, I think. He did not expect Ben to do that well. And Ben predicted him like a lot of his fighting and counter ganked him like all series long. He matched him and like out jungled him. So I don't think I think Griffin got caught off guard. He spent the entire season smurfing on everyone.
Yeah.
And now he finally met a good jungler and it just like yeah, it's why it looked bad, but it's not because he was bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think junglers tend to get a lot of flack for when their team situation isn't very good and the rest of their team doesn't like have the best situation for him, and that typically happens. I typically say that is the Svenskeren effect because of how he looked on TSM compared to how he looked on C9.
Yeah, I've seen you heard say that.
Yeah,
And
that's
EG, rest in peace.
and EG, he's back. Oh boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really what it looked like here. Once Griffin met his match, I guess, in the jungle, the matchups elsewhere on the team really began to falter around him. Like we all really expected it to, but we also foolishly, I would say, hindsight as well, foolishly did not expect him to falter in the same way as a lot of junglers tend to in those situations, but he definitely did.
I think people overhyped LC Gladiators because I was watching. I don't know where this was because I watched the Phoenix Rising League stream. I watched your stream from your POV, and I watched Puck. I'm fucking invested, but I don't know where I heard this from. Like you're like, oh, Griffin. Well, not you, but like somebody said like Griffin will do a lot better than Ben, and their soul laners will just will hold up against their soul laners. But that didn't happen because the soul laners got smashed. The jungler got smashed, and bot lane Havoc was playing some weird stuff, but they still got smashed, except for game one. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the general idea was that we were gonna lose to them, but I never felt like they had a chance. I knew it was gonna be an easy 3-0.
Yeah. I mean, I expected a 3-1 because, again, well, everyone's talked about, oh, this team was just Griffin all season long. So I didn't expect Griffin to be able to carry with Ben around. That's what I mean. But still, I hope, at least thought he would still win game. But I guess I underestimated you guys. But,
How dare you?
how dare I?
A lot of people thought that one game was the one where Elvis played.
Yeah, I remember watching that too.
I mean,
That's one losers.
to be honest, you
That
guys
shit's
really
popping.
tried to give them a
Yeah.
game.
Well, not game one. I really want game one. Game 2 and 3, they really try to lose really hard. But
Yeah.
alas, despite us trying to lose, LC Gladiator just did better than us trying to lose.
Like
Oh,
Havoc
yeah.
and Shaco, as well as he did, I am not trash talking him at all,
I am.
but he trolled so hard all game long.
He
He
really
dove
did.
people all game. Just
Yeah.
and how did it work is my question. Like how do you I don't know. How do you die so much to shake a support like going for those plays over and over again? I don't know.
I mean, it really comes down to like the same thing we've been saying about this team for essentially the whole split is that Lost Collective's bot laner, Ezreal, is kind of a joke when it comes to the late game, especially. But up until this point, his laning didn't look very good either. Now, I will say, Ezreal and Applause actually did really well in their lane. Uh, whether that's because Core Havoc is trolling or they're actually looking good together is
It
another
was really
thing.
sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that too, right? But their lane actually did look a lot better than it did the rest of the season combined, I would say. I think their laning, that was the peak of their laning. But once it
Mhm.
got to late game, it looked all exactly the same. Like
Yeah.
Ezreal's going melee into people all the time. Actually, or not actually FK. Well, he does
And
it too, but Applause just looked really lost because they were behind, right? They were behind at that point in other parts of the map, and when Ezreal's running it in team fights, then Applause is not going to look very good because support. That's how the role works, and yeah, it was a really it was a really sour taste in my mouth to see like Ezreal is the one that's doing really well in the early game because of Core Havoc's situation, which I didn't really know about, but I just thought that he was just picking troll champions. So his lane looked a
I mean that's
little.
definitely part of it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's definitely
I
part of it.
I definitely yeah, it was for sure. But like his lane didn't look as good, so that made Ezreal's lane look better. But Ezreal has never been the carry for this team. It's always been Griffin in the late game. So when Ezreal's the one with like you hit tab and you're like, all right, this is the guy that's gonna carry. That just really like irks me because I'm like, oh, they're definitely going to play around Ezreal and it's definitely going to kill them once it comes to the team fights, and it did every time, all 3 games.
Yeah, this dude went into melee range to Yasuo. I was
Yeah,
really surprised when he like eased into Yasuo and he's like dies instantly. Like, what you think is gonna happen?
yeah.
It
Just
was
fed Yasuo.
I wish I could say
as
I was
someone
surprised, but I wasn't. I knew that would happen.
yeah. As someone who was watching the stream, it was really funny to see coronavirus yelling at people to ban Yasuo after that first game.
Yeah, I don't know why people always give us Gragas Yasuo. It's
Yeah.
so surprising.
Yeah.
Whatever. Free win, I guess. Every game's a free win, but those especially. Super
Yeah.
free.
I mean, if you consider that Yasuo is probably Tony or like one of his best champions, and Gragas is one of Ben's best champions. Yeah, it's
That
just
works out.
easy
Right.
win.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty. You guys just popped off on that one, and yeah, I love to see it. I'm really excited for your match against Akuma Katanas. I think they also pulled out the Gragas Yasuo, and that's probably going to have really high priority in the series, and that's always a fun duo for me to watch. So
I
I'm
mean,
really
it
excited about
didn't
that.
look it didn't look that convincing on them, if I'm honest.
They, I agree. It didn't look as convincing as the Gragas Yasuo from you guys. At least, well, you guys both pulled it together in a similar way in the late game, but in both games, it felt like the Gragas didn't really gank the Yasuo all that much. Less so for Soulbound, but it definitely happened in Katanas. But yeah, it seems like Katanas. I think you said it best before we started recording, where they find a way to throw the game at some point, but then they also always find a way to grasp it back. It's
Yeah.
really consistent and it's really weird. Uh, but that's how it worked on their Gragas Yasuo. So I would imagine that both teams are really gonna want to lock down that pairing here, or at least just the Yasuo, because there are a lot of champions that work well with Yasuo. I know for Clash last night, Ryan and I played Yasuo with Zac bot lane, and that was pretty fun. You guys played that?
Maybe. I can't tell you.
I guess yeah. You don't have to leak your whatever, but
Our
I mean,
strats may make up during champ select. We don't know.
yeah,
I'm being serious. I don't know. We figured this shit out like half an hour before we start the game.
there you go. Well, it's working. So
for sure.
yeah, great stuff to Soulbound Tsunami. How are you guys feeling about the matchup against Akuma Katanas here?
It'll be easy.
It's gonna be
Honestly.
is gonna be the biggest fiesta this league has ever seen. That's how I see it. Because already Gladiators tried to match Soulbound, and it was like one of the most entertaining best of five I've ever seen in my life, where it was fighting nonstop, like 30 kills and like what was it, like 30 kills in 12 minutes? One of the
Something like
games
that. Yeah, it was a lot.
against Gladiators. I think Katanas is gonna be something of the same. They're gonna be fighting nonstop both teams, and just if the trend of Katanas, like as I said, throwing, like finding ways to throw and then come back and then throw and then come back and just flipping it continues against Soulbound, it's gonna be back and forth, and it's gonna be a really fun series.
Yeah,
I just
really looking
oh
forward to it.
sorry.
No, it's good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that I think individually all five of us are better than counterpart. So like I don't see a way they win. They might like sneak one game off of us, maybe. But
I
like
think they will.
I really think it'll be 3-0. Everyone's hyping them up to be the best team in the league, but I don't see it. Coronavirus or top laner is garbage. I just want to point that out. Steel City Warrior shit on him so hard after the series that he beat him. He quit the game for a month. It'll happen again. It'll be like 6 months this time. Who knows?
Oh man. All right. Well, with that, let's hop over to Akuma Katanas because they played another series. They went 3-0, very similarly to you guys, but this one was against OTA Glacials, and it looked closer than your series.
Yeah, it was.
It definitely looked closer because, especially game 3, they had to win through a back door.
50-minute long game, man.
Yeah.
When Nutty disconnected, when Bear got
Oh
stolen,
my
that
God.
shit killed me.
That was
Yeah.
that was so funny. It was probably not funny for OTA Glacials,
That
but
was funny for me.
it was very funny when the Baron got stolen. A summoner has disconnected.
That shit killed me.
that was really something else. But yeah, OTA Glacials do get 3-0'd here in this series. I predicted that, but I definitely didn't think it would be this close. And OTA really put up a fight. They fought to the bitter end, but it really felt like Akuma Katanas in the end, just as I've been saying about them like the whole split long, their team cohesion and their like willingness to just go for a play seemed like the snap decisions that they make really felt like that was their turning point. That's how they do get back in these games where they do throw. Like the back door is a big example of that. Like teams aren't always very coordinated when it comes to a back door like that just to close out the game. Of course, the base was entirely open, right? So uh, like there's a pretty good chance that in a solo queue game you could probably still do that. It's not like really impressive that that's how they won, but just the willingness to do stuff like that, and it showed in the rest of the series as well. Is why I'm really impressed by this team as a whole.
Yeah, in my opinion, like they did 3-0. Like you said, it was close. Like I felt like they could have lost at any of those 3 games. Like it was feasible. Like, if they made one misstep, they would have lost any of those
Well,
3
I
games.
don't think they could have lost game 2.
No, game 1 and 3. Game 2
Yeah.
was sad, but game 1
2
and
was
3,
not
especially
bad.
game 3, like one misclick and you're dead, and they just end the game. It's like a 60-second respawn. It was just game 1 and 3 felt really close. Game 2 not so much. I'm not surprised they 3-0'd. I'm surprised that it was that close because OTA Glacials are pretty bad. So
I mean, the bot lane of OTA Glacials tried so hard to keep them in the games.
Yep.
Like they played so good, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's just a couple of things that wasn't really great. But yeah, they like Ateneo and yeah, they played really good. And it's just sad. Like it's tough. Like how did Vigar steal Baron twice the same way? Like how does that happen?
That's
I
just
think
so
my-
tragic. The first time is because Nautilus wasn't in the pit.
Mhm.
By the way, we're jumping straight over the giant elephant in the room. Nautilus jungle
awful.
I mean,
sounds like a core havoc pick.
I mean,
awful.
with-
I was so surprised.
with the
Yeah,
new
actually,
Cinderhulk.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't understand.
Zach.
Like, I don't understand. Was it a flex? Because I think I skipped the
No.
draft of that game.
So
No, they picked
I've
it
been
for
watching Klepto Bismol for a while. This is just a pick that he plays. It's not good, but
But
that's
why?
just something that I don't know.
Because the way I thought they would do is that they picked Nautilus, then they picked Leona, and they were like, oh, we need to flex the Nautilus, and then, but why would you pick Yumi into Leona either? Like, so I don't know.
Well, Yumi's just really good. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
yeah,
I feel like Leona is one of the only matchups that can actually kill her and like
Blitzcrank
punish her.
also
Yeah.
beats her.
Yeah, Blitzcrank as well. It's
You
probably
need
the
to
two.
you need to have
Probably
something
two, yeah.
super hard engage if you're going to kill her in lane, but even then they didn't
Yeah.
really do that in lane all that much.
I mean, he got killed both of them early, no?
Yeah, I mean,
Which is
but it wasn't like to the extent where you're
yeah.
outscaling the Yumi.
I
Like
mean,
the game
considering
still
that
went to 50 minutes.
the only way for Odak to win was through bot, in my opinion. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it scaled so it worked. It kept that in the game so hard later on, so I can't flame the Yumi pick.
Right.
But yeah,
That's kind of just how
I don't
Yumi
know.
works, really.
Yeah, the Nautilus jungle just really wasn't it.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
wasn't.
I definitely agree. But yeah, I remember watching that draft and seeing the Nautilus and the Echo, and people were like, "Oh, it's Nautilus mid, Echo jungle," and I was like, "Please, please, I hope it's not that. I prefer it if it's Nautilus jungle, Echo mid, because I've seen
Really?
Klepto
Really?
Bismol play Echo,
Oh,
and
that's about.
there.
you
Oh,
do
okay.
not want to see that.
Okay, I see.
So,
Uh,
I knew that game was just sad to watch. Game 2 especially was just disappointing. Not disappointing, but like depressing.
yeah,
Imagine
'cause-
being
Yeah.
on Glacial's side, like you still don't want to play the game anymore.
as
Yeah.
soon as Nautilus gets this fed, it's just not Nautilus Nocturne. What am I saying? Like
Yeah,
Nocturne
no,
just
never got fed.
yeah, not true. But
yeah.
as soon as Nocturne can ult into 5 people, get a Galio ult and just kill everyone alone, like what can you do? Like the
Yeah. That comp was so good against OTA Glacial specifically
Yeah.
too, because that's how they play. They play around their bot lane, and
Mhm.
if you have all of that dive onto Ateneo, then what can you really do? And that was the question he
Yeah.
asked too, and they didn't have an answer, and they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, Klexo roam really well. Just to give him
Yes.
credit, he played the pick fantastically. He
Agree.
got he got roams off top, got roams off bot. He just did so much. Just really put the team on his back on this one.
I fully agree. I think Klexo's Nocturne looked really really good. I understand why they didn't do it again because they wanted to have a little bit more variety or whatnot. You
Mhm.
know, like the 2-0 limit test, of course. So, uh,
Yeah.
you can just try stuff at that point. But yeah, his Nocturne looked really really good, and I really liked their look on that composition. So, really looking forward to what they can do. I will admit though that those 3 games were the shakiest that they have looked all season long, which
Mhm.
is expected. You know, it's playoffs. They're not against Trash's division teams. They're against an actual team, and
Hmm.
that's gonna happen. But it looked like, if any, a little bit more shaky than I was expecting personally, especially game 3.
I don't know, because everyone says, oh, these guys are shoehorned in to win the whole thing. Like, you're all fighting for second. But the division they were in was so garbage. Like,
True.
Jet Black was second. Like, you're joking, right? Like, of course you're going to be like 14-2 or whatever. Like, how would you not?
And the team you guys 3-0'd
Yeah.
came in 3rd.
In that division?
Yeah.
What the hell did 3-0?
Oh,
TFT.
Taco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Taco,
right. Yeah, no, we
Taco.
knew they were garbage. Yeah,
Yeah, the
that's what you
Scion
picked up.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought you were talking about Gladiators. I'm like, did they really come third
Oh
in
no
that
no no.
division?
That was
No,
from
no,
that was
no,
from
no.
Thursday. That's
Okay.
no.
uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
TFT were garbage. So bad. That's not a player, man.
I yeah. We can get past the TFT memes. They're long gone at this point.
Yeah,
But
hopefully they
Yeah,
disband.
poor them. They look like nice
Oh.
guys, nice people. They look like a fun team. They
Yeah.
just
It's fun for me, that's for sure.
it looked like I was. So how do you feel about your playoff MVP?
Are you talking about Griffin?
Yeah. No, Elvis. I'm just.
Who's my playoff
You
MVP?
got MVP against TFT, don't you remember?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, you
I
did.
forgot about that. I totally forgot. I got playoff MVP against the worst team in the whole league. Not in the whole league, but like in playoffs, probably.
Yeah.
Actually, no, second worst. Essentia's worse, but second worst.
I put Imperial
Ooh.
Knights under them, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you count that the Imperial Knights lost Ascentia, and you're flaming Ascentia by elimination.
I totally forgot about Imperial Knights.
Yeah. Most did at this point, but yeah.
I mean, they did okay.
No, they didn't. We don't have to. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, okay, just go next.
So,
Alright.
so yeah, for this series now, we touched on you guys. We touched on Akuma Katanas. That's gonna be the match that is happening on Saturday, and
Mhm.
best of five. Oh, I know you guys think you're definitely going to win that, as you should. You should think that you should win that.
I don't
Uh,
think we will win. I know we'll win. It's different.
okay. Yeah, you know you'll win. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
Calculated.
for sure.
Trust me.
You gotta have confidence going into something like that. But
He
uh,
doesn't have. He doesn't run out of that. He has plenty of confidence.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Fine.
So did Nutty, by the way. But
Yeah, that is garbage though. We're not. So different. That dude.
oh
First of
man.
all, that dude trash talking me beginning. Everyone. This happened to everyone, by the way. Everyone started trash talking me beginning the league when we were like not last place, but like around there because we were trolling. And now everyone's like all for me now all of a sudden. So people have swapped sides as we're getting closer and closer to finals. A little weird.
You know
How
what?
that works.
I'm proud of myself for continuing to and always have been staying completely neutral on you.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you were one of the first people to say that someone was actually like a good team or like a team that could do something.
Yeah,
I
because
think,
no one watched Friday Division, man, except
yeah,
for me.
All I'm
yeah.
saying is, Griffin, I'm kind of a psychopath, so I looked back at the messages he sent in banter towards us, and he was trash talking me so hard, like, "Oh, you need a smurfing top laner to beat the worst team in the league. You got to shut your mouth. You're in the worst division." What happened? What happened, Griffin? How's semis?
Yep, feels bad for
Oh
Griffin.
wait, you're not in semis. I am. Weird. Who knocked you out? Ah, yeah, it's me. That's right. Oh, weird. We needed smurfing top laner to beat the worst team in the league, but we beat them without him.
Mm,
Weird.
yeah,
Okay.
it was a really good series from you guys. Really entertaining to watch as well. I'm happy with it. But yeah, for the Katanas match, on a less memey note, how are you actually feeling about that matchup? I know you touched on coronavirus slash shock pool a little bit, but the rest of the team as well. Yeah, we a lot of people agree that this is the favorite to win, but you guys obviously knowing that you can beat them. What's the series gonna be like?
My opinion, I think we 3-0. Unless we troll too hard, then we 3-1. Like, I'm looking at their OPGGs. Is this guy seriously? Are these people your seriously like your first place team? Like these guys? D4, D4, D4. Yeah, no fucking way they beat us.
But you're D4 as well.
Well, it's different.
Technically,
I
he's
mean,
silver
because you're
one.
trolling doesn't make it
Yeah,
better.
actually, yeah, I'm silver one, negative one, right? So
But yeah.
look at these players. Because I think people think that Shock Pool is their best player. Is that like the general like idea?
I mean, he's for sure acknowledged as probably the best or one of the best top laners in the league.
Well,
Yep.
not the
If
best.
not,
That's for fucking sure. This guy is garbage. Like I played against him. Garbage. Steel City Warrior played against him. And Rage quit the game. Like this guy, it's garbage. That's I know their top lane. The rest of their team, I don't know them too well, but
yeah.
I'm not worried. Like, what is a D4 mid laner gonna do against Steel City Warrior? Exactly nothing. So what is a D4 Plat 1 bot lane gonna do against Havoc North? Nothing. D4 jungler against Ben? Yeah, you're funny. Griffin can't do it. What makes you think Doubtful will? Lee Sin one trick, 44 games, next most played Rumble, 8, 25% win rate. Yeah, he has no chance.
So
I mean,
3-0.
talking about Doubtful, I don't want to flame. I don't know if he was playing uncharacteristically bad the series they played, but I feel like not that he played bad, but a lot of people put him on top 20. I felt like a lot of people acknowledged him as one of the best junglers, and I don't know. I wasn't convinced when I saw him play. Again, he didn't do that bad. It's just I felt like maybe he wasn't doing that well. It's just kind of like same thing with coronavirus in that series,
yeah,
where they did very good plays, but again, they also did very bad plays,
I agree.
which seemed to be a trend with the team with this series. But you could,
I would definitely agree. I think that both Doubtful and Coronavirus looked pretty off in this series, and I
Mhm.
think a lot of that is because Coronavirus played 3 consecutive games of Rumble,
hmm,
which
is
Not his forte. I don't know if you can tell.
That's one way of putting it.
That's not a champion that he's really known for.
Yeah.
But
Because
it's what they. Go ahead.
the only game I saw them play was him on Aatrox, where he literally got I don't know, like a quadra kill, I think, or something. Like he
Yeah.
was smashing everyone.
Yeah,
So I guess I
he's
had
very
like a
good at
very,
Aatrox.
had a very high vision of him, which is why if they have a much better series than that, they could still do very well.
Yeah.
And pull it back. Maybe it was just again it's an off night, but yeah, the rest of
Yeah.
the team I don't know.
So for Coronavirus to carry, he has to be on a melee champion and he has to be on a physical damage dealing champion. And Rumble is only melee, and he's only kind of melee. So
Only one of the two check marks.
yeah, he's only got one, and it's like kind of one of them.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean, his Rumble ults were good. It's just wasn't.
Well, not all of
them. Yeah, some of them. True. But I feel like still, when they were on Baron, there's a couple of his ults. Yeah. One of the games.
I agree.
I don't remember which one. Where he pulled pulled him off Baron multiple times, led to them turning fights and stuff. So he didn't play bad. It's just it wasn't shining. I don't know.
Right.
It wasn't like a super good performance.
No, I definitely agree here. I think that their individual performances in that series, like all 5 of them, not the best. And yeah. I was definitely kind of thrown for a loop, seeing that kind of thing. But it's to be expected. Like I mentioned, they did play against a lot easier teams leading up to this point, and OTA Glacials was a team that I heralded as being really good. I still stand by that. I think that was a bad matchup for them, obviously. They did get 3-0'd. But yeah, they definitely did push Katanas to a few limits here, and one of them was Coronavirus playing 3 mediocre Rumble games. So I think it's definitely warranted. I think saying after that series that Coronavirus is looking like a weak point, definitely warranted. So I would definitely, for Katanas, for spectators, for you guys, be watching out for that matchup. See if he is having a Rumble day or an Aatrox day, because that very well could change things up. However, on the topic of their solo queue ranks here,
Don't look at me.
I've had
we're both looking at you, Elvis.
Yeah, of course. I've had this conversation with other people too, because that tends to be something that comes up when I call this team as good as I do, right? I think this team is very, very good. I think this team is way better than the sum of their parts, which I think is a really, really good thing to have in a team like this. So yeah, right. They all in solo queue. They're all Diamond 4, Diamond 3, or Platinum 1, whatever that is. I think that they have been playing together for so long that they know each other's go buttons, they know each other's weaknesses, they know how to set each other up for success, and I think that is really, really important. And that part of their gameplay was the main thing that I saw in OTA Glacials that was fully consistent with the rest of their season so far. Their individual performances, not as good. Their team fights and their macro control, not as good. But they still made all their plays together. They never doubted each other the whole time. And that has been something that I've been very impressed with by them the entire split, and it's continued so far for me. So for me, going into this series against Soulbound, I still have a lot of confidence in them. I have less confidence in my original claim that they will not drop a single game all playoffs, especially because I was hoping that they would play against you guys in the finals, so they would 3-0 in the semis too. I think at this point, you and now the OTA is done, and now that I saw what happened to Scythes, which is the first major upset of my power rankings, by the way, if you're keeping track. Now that has gone down, I think that these are the 2 best teams, and whoever wins this one will win the finals.
How far have we come from one of the worst teams, PRL, to top 2?
I never called you one of the worst teams.
Not you. Just say the general idea was like.
I agree with that.
Worst.
I think this is the true finals.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be because you saw it. You said that. I mean, as soon as Katanas start grouping and start fighting together, they look so much better.
Yeah.
Like it's true. Like it's one of the reasons why they keep showing their lead and then grasping it back. They will randomly win a fight that they shouldn't win. There's games where the fights that I feel like they should never have won those fights, and they somehow pulled through and won a fight randomly. But this is also one of the strengths of Soulbound, in my opinion, which is a team that's gonna randomly pick fights and win them very well just by how well the team fight together. So I think this is gonna be a very interesting matchup because if there is one team that matches well against Katanas, I think it's Soulbound
Hey,
because they have the
you
same
you
strength.
mentioned that earlier, Smax. So like, oh, they've been playing together for a long time, and like they have like that built-in synergy. But like, I feel like just us five, like we're not because
Or
again,
six.
like this is well six sometimes.
Yeah.
So I got if it's on Thursdays, but like we don't play on a team together like this. Like besides this, like we have like separate teams that like we actually like, scrim with and stuff. But like us as a five, we've been like playing with each other for like a year or so, like a long time.
A year and a
So like
half,
we
yeah.
yeah, a year and a half. So like we were like on a team together before, but not anymore because like split up. But like we've been playing with each other for such a long time. So like I think our synergy as five is the best in the whole league. Like not even close. Because like every time we take a fight, instantly four people are there to back up the guy taking the fight. Instantly. I was rewatching like one of the VODs against who the hell did we play against last week?
Lost
Gladiator,
Collective.
Gladiators.
Gladiators.
Yeah.
And like there'll be like a 2v2 fight top lane, and like 2 seconds later, all five of us are there. Like, I think that's why like we always win because one, we're better individually than everyone else, and two, like we always like back each other up no matter what. We had like that synergy because we've been playing together for like a year and a half. So that's why I
which
think
is
we're gonna win.
which is something that not sides Katanas do very well as well. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think both of you guys do that really really well. I also think Go Next does that very well too. So I'm really pleased with how that is a common trend of a lot of the teams that have made it this far. I think that's
Yeah,
really really cool.
3/4
What'd you say?
3/4 of the team. Sencha, yikes.
Yeah, I'm not willing to say that about Ascentia, but for three out of the four, I'm really
I
confident in
mean,
that. And
I feel
What
like
do you think?
Ascensia.
Oh, were you gonna say, Aerys?
I feel like Ascensia at points they look like that, and then randomly, 5 minutes later, they don't look like a unit at all. But
yeah,
we're not talking about them yet, so
yeah, we can get to them in a bit.
What do you think that score? What is like the prediction for that series? Semis, like us
Yeah.
versus
Yeah,
Katanas.
that's what I was gonna hop into right
Oh
now.
shit, my
So
bad.
oh
no,
yeah.
it's totally fine. I like the transition, but yeah.
Oh,
So
thanks
so
for that,
for
bro.
first
I didn't give it.
score, you already gave a 3-0 for Soulbound, of course, completely unbiased at all.
You have the five
Completely,
best
bro.
players in the whole league, in my opinion. Six, actually. So probably like eight because you have so many people on the roster. Real.
I am going to be kicking myself if I don't predict a 3-0 for Katanas because I already mentioned that I don't think they'll drop a game. I'm gonna go back on that though for this, and I
Mhm.
think and I'm hoping that the trend continues where it's one of the matches is a 3-2 and the rest of them are 3-0. I'm hoping that that continues so that this match can be a 3-2, and that's what I'm gonna predict. I'm gonna go for a 3-2 for Akuma Katanas though. I'm not gonna predict.
I respect that you stick by who you think's gonna win, even though we're here. I respect. I'm glad you didn't flip flop just because we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Uh,
wrong, but
I
anyway.
I really hope that this is the 5 game series of this week, because there's only been one for each time, and I hope it's this one, because I think these games, like we've already mentioned, are going to be the most entertaining ones, the biggest clown fiestas, because
Yep.
both teams are just fully committed to going for the 5v5, and I'm really really pumped for it. I think Saturday is going to be the one to watch for sure, and yeah, I'm predicting a 3-2. What about you, Aries?
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say 3-2 Soulbound. I think if there's one team that can make them drop the games, it's Katanas. If Katanas play better than last week, because if we see last week's Katanas, it's 3-0 Soulbound. But I think that after like that, where they were challenged a little bit, they're gonna pull it back and actually show up
Right.
prepared for the game. Especially with all the trash talk and Elvis
Yeah.
and stuff. Like they're really gonna want to win that series. The coronavirus is gonna be like he's gonna be putting photos of you and throwing knives at them. He's gonna be ready to like beat you up. Like
Well,
they're gonna
I
come.
just want to say, I actually like AKM, like the people there. I like all except for coronavirus. I like everyone else. I think they're cool. I like them. That's why I don't like shit talking them because they're really cool. Like
Yeah.
if we beat them, not if, when we beat them, I'm not gonna shit talk them that much because I like them. So
All right.
yeah.
But yeah, I think they're gonna come prepared. They're gonna pull it back and actually show their best side, and it's gonna be a 3-2. They're gonna make Soulbound drop games for sure. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be one hell of a series, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be really close.
I think it is too. But if you guys want to 3-0 Essentia in a best of 5, then you probably should lose this. Because
Yeah.
Oh no!
What's better, winning TRL or 3-0ing Ascentia? Can I talk about this team yet? Is this allowed?
we're getting to Essentia now. Let's just hop right in.
Alright,
So
they're
Essentia
so
played against
fucking
Original.
garbage. I think the worst person on that team is Tea Time. He is
What?
the worst coach I've seen in my entire fucking life.
Okay.
He is so no, I'm not even kidding. This is garbage. And his entire team is also garbage. I'll give him that. It's kind of hard to work with garbage, but he himself is like, oh my god, it's so bad. I can give you
Can you-
reasons.
Can
Doesn't know how to
can you
draft.
tell me why? Because
Yes, I can't tell you why. All right, he doesn't know how to draft. I remember when we played against him. What week was this? I don't remember what week this was. Second time I
Well-
played against him
second time, okay.
because I didn't play the first time because I was busy or some shit.
Mhm.
So like he like we were like blue side and he leaves up Ornn, so he gives me Ornn, which is like my best champion I think, and he says counter for top lane. Okay, whatever. They probably have an Ornn counter, right? I'm not gonna name my Ornn counters, but they probably have an Ornn counter. No, he locks an Aatrox into Ornn, and they wonder why Aatrox did nothing all game. Because what can he do? One, the guy's dog shit, but two, it's a bad matchup for Aatrox in my opinion. There's that. His drafts are garbage, right? He does know shit about the game. In terms of drafting, I don't know how he is like outside of drafting because I'm not part of their team. But I know his drafting is garbage. His players are also garbage. Fancy Italian was the best mid laner PRL. You fucking kidding me? That dude does not know what he's doing. Like I watched. You saw the original series? Like
I watched the original series. Oh yeah.
was he the
Okay, I think-
MVP?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he got it.
Dios mio! Like that dude was so fucking bad.
I mean, I will keep
Why would you
saying
lock
about
an Ari? I know he didn't do it, but T-Time, what are you thinking? Why don't you lock an Ari? That champ does nothing. And
Yeah,
you
Ari's
saw the
really
whole
bad.
game.
I mean, he did work that game, didn't he? He learned.
He did.
Actually,
No, he did not do it. He did not do work.
He did in the clutch spots, but a lot
Yeah,
of the
that's-
spots where they were
yeah.
behind were because he died.
yeah, true.
Like if
Yeah.
it's this guy does his full combo at a champion, hits all his abilities, it's like quarter damage. Like how'd you lock an Ari?
Yeah,
Whatever.
Ari's not a very useful champion. I'll agree with that, but as much as I like the banner, I definitely don't agree that Tea Time is a bad coach. I think he is good at draft. I've talked to him a bunch over the course of both this split and last, but yeah, I
mean-
definitely don't agree.
You need to remember that players have a voice in draft. It's not just him drafting.
Yeah,
If their pool doesn't work or what he wants to do, or if it like in a pinch they give him a bad champion, it might not be his mistake every single time.
Yeah, but
I'm not
everyone
saying it's
jerks
the
off
players.
T-
I'm
if-
not in
that's
there.
definitely what we saw yesterday for sides, by the way. But we'll get to that in a bit.
If everybody
Yeah.
jerks off T-Time, like, oh my god, Essentia has T-Time, drafting God, and I see this shit in front of my eyes, like, we could draft better. Like, the hell? Like,
Hmm.
he's... Anyway, enough of that guy. Garbage. Top laner, garbage. Doesn't know what he's doing. Jungler, 50-50. He's either
That's because there's two
really,
of
really
them.
bad. Both of them are garbage, but
Oh,
the
okay.
striker, I think his name is, whatever, he's either really, really, really bad or okay. So I guess they have that going for him. That's Italian.
I mean-
We have 3 mid laners on our team that's better than him. I'm not even kidding.
Fancy is like, I don't know the decisions he takes are so questionable most of the time. But I also feel like he has the potential and mechanics to be a really good mid. It's the reason why people put him that far up, I think.
Right.
Because we've seen highlights and plays of him where he just pops off and does like so well. And then he's gonna randomly run into 4 people the next play and then in. It's just the decisions he takes are really bad, I feel like. But his
people
mechanics are
voted
really
him
good.
as one of the best mid laners in this league, but
Yeah, because
have
of that. They voted him
me-
because of mechanical.
me,
Prowess, not-
Tony, and North are better than him at mid lane. You have just
You're
3
not
people
better
right
than
there.
him at mid lane,
I
Elvis.
definitely
You're
fucking
not
am.
better.
I will whoop this guy's ass any day of the week. I'm not even kidding. Well, what is he gonna do to me? Pick Ari and do what? Exactly. Full
I mean,
Conley for half, like 28 damage.
he has other
Anyway,
champions.
their bot lane. Well, he's bad too. But anyway, their bot lane. Yellow, garbage. I know Aerys, he's your friend, but he doesn't know what he's
I
doing.
mean, I don't agree with that, but yeah.
Is there support now?
I mean, they have
They have
two. They
Orbit.
have Laxon and Orbit.
I like
they're
Laxon
playing
better
good.
than the other guy. Bring Laxon back, and maybe you have a chance of winning one game in semis.
I mean,
That's my idea. They're all garbage. Especially tea time.
the problem I see with their bot lane in Laxon is that I feel like Laxon is much better with the rest of the team,
Mm.
but him and Yellow are garbage together. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like they
That's why
don't.
they got a new guy, right?
Yeah, and then Orbit doesn't play as well with the team, but he
I
looks
agree.
much more solid as a two-man unit with Yellow.
Yep.
The problem that I see with Ascentia right now, seeing that and what I saw in those games, is that now I feel like before it looked like Yellow was just, or Yellow or Demon, because both of them was kind of like that. They were just literally collecting side waves and doing nothing but like farm and not playing with the team, except like those very late team fights when they ended grouping. So I feel like it was like a four-man unit running around, and then one ADC like just dying in the on the side. And then with Orbit now, I feel like it's just a three-man unit doing play on one side, and then these two playing their own game on the other side. Like it doesn't feel like a five-man. It just feels like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
My
Like I feel like
I just think that's garbage.
my thing
Yeah.
about Essentia is that I have never really sat down and been really impressed by their late game at all. I think their
Yeah.
late game macro is not very good, but I think their early game is quite often very good. I think that
Really?
yeah, I think it actually is. I think their early game is their strong suit for sure. It just it turns out differently based on what jungler they have in, and I definitely
Yeah.
prefer Striker because I feel like he is more proactive than JWeb a lot of the time. Granted, both of them can definitely play Zac, and Zac is probably the best jungler in the game right now. In this tier, I would say,
Ela. Yeah.
because maybe not pro, because you can definitely shut down a Zac easier.
I mean, he got shut down in Arilo too.
Yeah, yesterday,
Like
yeah, you definitely did.
Striker got absolutely fucked on Zai.
He
Well, I don't
definitely did.
understand why he was playing that way on that comp.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it's my general feeling with the Striker. The team that you describe now, where they have a very good early game and then they don't do anything. I feel like where the macros bad. I think that's their Striker version,
yeah,
where he just carries the early game and does play super proactive. He's super aggressive, and then when it comes to the late game, he just ends every fight.
I agree.
And then G-Web doesn't do much early, but he plays the fights much better. So they have these two versions of them, so are both imperfect.
Hmm.
Is how I feel, and that's probably why they don't know which one to decide between the two.
Yeah,
But like that game where Striker was playing Zac, where he's jumping into a Kate Morg, they have Black Shield.
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
remember that.
He has a front to back comp with Ornus engaged. He's trying to engage. Every single time he eats in, he gets knocked out by Sejuani or Black Shield bed and
instantly
dies.
dies.
Like, what the hell is he doing? And he played super
He
well
died like
early game that
13
game.
times
But
in that game,
what is
including
he
his
doing
passive.
then? Yeah, like it's nuts. And
I
like,
agree.
just let the Ornn engage because Morgana cannot prevent like 4 or 5 men or like 3, even 3 people. Morgana cannot prevent the 3-man Ornn ult. She's gonna Black Shield one person. The Black Shield's gonna be dead because of Ornn ult damage, which is ridiculous. The 2 others are gonna be in the air, and then Zac can just go in.
Yep.
And then he can just play front to back with a Cassiopeia ult and like the damage they have. But like, why is he just jumping in and dying and then they need to fight 4v5?
Yeah, and
It's just
this is the reason that I think Essentia's late game often doesn't look very good at all. And
like,
it's not just with Striker because they have the same players when they're playing JWeb, right? But they still like kind of rely on Striker to make some monkey shit happen, and
yeah.
then but JWeb doesn't really do that. So
Mhm.
it's a really weird situation where if they're winning early and then they just close out the game, then it looks really good. But
Mhm.
if it's even, then I have a really hard time ever saying, oh yeah, Essentia wins from this position, because they don't really draft themselves scaling either. The most they ever do is putting Fancy on a scaling champion, like Cassio
Yeah.
or Yasuo or something like that. If he's not on that, if he's on something like Ahri, then it's going to look way more shaky, or Talia as well. We saw that in that series too. I think it was game 3. Is Talia did not look good because he
No.
wasn't on a scaler and he was not focusing on his own lane at all. And yeah, I was not I was not happy with that performance, and they ended up losing to Original in that way, which I didn't think they would. The whole series, I didn't think they would drop a game to Original, but they dropped two because they put fancy on these non-scaling champions. They well, one of the game was Striker's Zac, so that's another thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just if they don't have the initiation from Striker, then their early game is less proactive. But if they
Mhm.
do have the initiation from Striker, then they have to close out really quickly, or else they don't win. Unless Fancy Italian's on a scaler. So I feel like in that draft, Tea Time kind of knows this, and that's why I think he does a good job more often than not at catering to that. But there are times where I side more with Elvis here, where it doesn't feel like anyone has fully like snapped. Oh, that's exactly what's going on, and that's our win condition. Like sometimes that
Mhm.
does happen, and then it looks like what Elvis is saying here, where it just looks like everything is falling to pieces. And I think that kind of Essentia game is not going to fly against Go Next with how they've been looking and how I'll wait to do that unless you guys have any final things on Essentia here before we jump into Go Next.
I mean, I
They're
have a hot take
garbage.
about them. I think if Original had their jungle game one, they would have won that series.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like
It's hard to say, right?
Original almost reverse swept
True.
with a no flame to the guy because he's a sub. I don't even know if he plays jungle or not. But they almost reverse swept with a game one, or the jungler had 14 deaths on Lee Sin?
Yes.
Something like that. He hardened it. He tried his best to make plays happen, and it didn't work. He got picked all game. Obviously, he's a sub. He's not used to playing with a team. He's maybe not even be a jungler anyway. But they almost reverse swept with a game down, and it looked like they might win game 5 as well. Like, I feel like if they don't have that handicap, maybe you lose that game, it's 2-2, and then you win the next one or something like that. They would have had a much bigger chance to actually win the series. I feel
Right.
like if they win that game one potentially.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can't argue with
just
that, but I don't think it's like absolute. Obviously, like I don't want to
yeah.
take the win against take a win away from Essentia. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it definitely was not a very convincing series at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only one that was not a 3-0. It very well could have been, but it was not. Game 3
Yeah.
did not look good. Original actually did pull something else out of the hat. Looked pretty good, but Essentia
Mm-hmm.
closed it out in the end. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all for that matchup. Let's go over to Go Next, who did play against Akuma Scythes last night, and they almost lost Game 3. So, okay, before we get into this, I want to tell you guys a story. So, last split, in the fall split, there was a
Mm-hmm.
team called Team Fish Taco Tempest, and on that team, their bot lane was Indigo and Doctor, the same bot lane from Akuma
Mm-hmm.
Scythes, and their top laner was Acetize, who moved to mid for Akuma Scythes. So that's three of the same players. They played against Go Next in that split as well, and they got 3-0'd. They technically got 4-0'd because there was a tiebreaker as well, but in the series they got
Oof.
3-0'd, and in Game 3 they got Ocean Soul and they still lost.
I've heard about this. I've heard people talking about
Uh-huh.
it, and TFT was a top team last season, right? With
Uh-huh.
them. Yeah.
And then guess what happened
Yeah.
when Indigo Doctor and Acetize played Game 3 against Go Next, and they got Ocean Soul.
What happened?
They lost again with Ocean Soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Of course.
actually so tragic. Ugh.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
anyway, that's just a pretty big meme
yeah.
for Indigo Doctor and
That's
Acetize against this team.
that's really sad.
It's really sad.
Yes. I mean.
I
But-
always
Yeah.
thought that series, Go Next is gonna win. In my opinion, you guys might think it's wrong. I think Go Next is the second best team. Us being the best, that's my opinion. That's why I think they're gonna
I
3-0
think if
Ascentia.
we look at semis for sure. I think Go Next played better than Katanas that series, and they deserve to be ranked like second if we're doing a power ranking right now.
Like
But I
just from
think-
the quarterfinal matches, you mean?
Yeah, for quarterfinals, yes.
Yeah, I could
But
agree
if
with that.
I think Katanas was off
Mm.
or trolling, one or the other, and it's why. But I might be wrong. I mean, maybe it was only the first time that Katanas was challenge and we saw the cracks. Or maybe it's just, maybe people are overhyping them, but I do think that they're better than Go Next if they show up. But if that series was very convincing from Go Next
Right.
in general. And I always thought that it would win, but I thought it would be like a 3-2 or something close. Because I thought Sides could win it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
I predict the
Yeah.
reverse sweep for Sides, and it almost started to happen.
yeah.
But it didn't. And
They saw the
the
Ocean Soul and they gave up.
yeah, pretty unfortunate. Ace Ties played really well that game, by the way.
Mhm.
His
Yeah.
Cinder was pretty nasty, but yeah, the series as a whole, really good from Go Next. They're obviously their second game was completely insane. 17-minute victory without a forfeit.
Isn't Bishan a one-trick Lee Sin?
No, so he has 3 champions that he plays way better than everyone else. Well,
Which is Lee Sin, Talia, and Zach?
Yep, those are the 3. That's what he played.
And just looking at his OP and the games that he played there, that's what I could tell.
Yep. So he
But
plays
like,
those 3 champions. He's played those for as long as I've been watching him play. He plays those way better than everyone else. Like obviously every jungler is like a Lee Sin player, at least a little bit. So like
mhm.
there's an argument there for whether or not he's the best Lee Sin, but he's obviously the best Zac and he's obviously the best Talia player.
I mean, he's one of the best Lee Sins I've seen in a
Yeah,
long time. If that
that
game
too.
is an indicator of how he plays normally.
Yeah, and it is.
I've rarely seen a jungler smash someone that hard. Like that whole series was kind of jungle diff, but especially that game. That game was rough.
Yeah, it really was. After that game, you consider retiring if you're Kaz. Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't want to blame him. I don't know him, but it looked like he was just outclassed.
It
like
really stings for a game like that, where you can really just point to all these big mistakes that the jungler made, and
I mean,
it's definitely different than what happened to Griffin, right? Griffin was
yeah.
trying to go for these plays, like after he was clearing the jungle. Kaz couldn't even clear his jungle. Bishan was just hunting him down like a predator.
Griffin tried to make plays happen that were over aggressive and got punished, but those decisions were not like wrong. Is why I say that he didn't play that bad. It could have worked. I feel like none of the plays that Kaz tried could have worked. Like in that series, like the game he played Zac, where he got the game that we were talking about. There was a play where I took the Doctor landed a good like blitz hook to get a pick, and then they get him low, but the person flashes over the wall, and then Zac randomly flashes like Kaz. He flashed into 4 people, one of them being Nolus, and he died in half a second.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is he doing? Why is he flashing after that guy? There's no way he kills him. Or like just him. Like they see Lee Sin invade, right? For the blue. They spotted him on a ward, which was a really good ward, a really good thing. They pinged him. And then why don't you just vertical jungle? Why are you trying to go fight the Lee Sin in your jungle when he's going to clear the buff before you even get there? Get the collapse on your top lane first, and then your Zac level 2. Like, how are you going to win this fight?
Right.
Like, why is he taking? Like, why are they making those decisions? Yes, you have Renekton, but both of your side lanes both of your solo lanes are gonna be there first, like getting collapsed on first, and your Zac level 2 entirely useless. Yeah. Just let him get your jungle on scale, vertical jungle, get his blue, like chill and wait. Why are you trying to fight him? So like that's in a way, Kaz tried really hard in that game to make Bishan look good, but Bishan definitely altered him all game. He outpatted him. He just outplayed him very hard.
And this is what we were alluding to before, where this is the game that you look to if you're having trouble with Zac. You watch what Bishan does in this game, and it'll help. Because he just dismantled everything that Kaz was trying to do. A lot of that, I think, is because Bishan is so good at Zac himself. So he knows exactly what the weaknesses are, which you got to give him props for. He knew exactly what it was. He played the game before, too. And, this series was 100% jungle diff. I don't think you can really say it's anything else here. But to say something else, the draft was really not catered to either of these two teams, I would think. On the side of Scythes, I mean. So Scythes, they didn't really draft for themselves, and they didn't really draft to try to deny things against Go Next either. And
I mean, if Bishan is smurfing on the journal that hard, why don't you just deny him his champions?
yeah, you have to triple ban him, right?
Yeah, just or at least like double ban him and then pick the other. Don't do a handshake like that where you just give him one and dictate the other, just
I
trying to
agree.
smurf on you.
I fully
Just
agree.
deny all three.
Yeah,
Like,
and then banning Yumi against Seawolf also didn't really make too much sense. They
eh.
left Irelia up for one of the games, which is a big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're
What
not
was the
banning
third
triple
one?
jungler, by the way, like
Yeah.
you can ban triple jungler and leave the Irelia up if that's what your plan is, and like have Shaden do that, because Shaden did have a good series overall. His series was pretty good. The Renekton game, not great, obviously,
Yeah.
but no one
I
looked
mean,
good in that game.
I don't even think it was his fault. He
Yeah,
got
it wasn't. It
so
definitely wasn't.
fucked by the early plays. Like, first of all, he gets killed for first blood on the collapse when with the random invade. All right, then sure. Then he dies again because he's TPing to save Zach when he goes in mid, and he dies for him. Where Zach just go like when Zach flashed in, got instantly popped. Shaden TP to try to save him.
Yeah.
Which led to both of them getting instant kill. Like, three of his deaths were not even his fault. And then when you O3 as Renekton, what do? Like, what can
Nothing.
you do?
You can't do anything.
Like, it's
His skin was cool though.
yeah.
He had the new skin.
Yeah, yeah. That's about it.
That's the only compliment I can really give him. But yeah, the Renekton game, definitely not his fault. The Shen game, he was against B-Way's Irelia, but he still held his own pretty well, I would say. Like,
Mhm.
Shen's not a champion that really makes the big play. Like, wow, Shen just did this.
Well,
You don't
Shen
notice.
beats Aurelia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Shen
Hard.
is supposed
And
to
he
beat
does,
her.
yeah.
Supposed to.
And he
But
did
the
in
fact that he
lane
didn't
for sure.
get the fact he should be super far ahead in Aurelia. She can't do anything in that matchup. The fact that he didn't means he's not good enough to like not he's not good enough to like he's not a good player if he doesn't get a lead like that in
Well,
that matchup.
yeah, from my perspective here, it seemed that he knew the matchup a little bit. Like, he knew what he was meant to do, but it felt like B-Way just knew the matchup better. And B-Way, being the Irelia player that he is, I definitely would expect that going into it. And I would expect that trying to pick a counter pick into this guy who just picks Irelia blind is not really going to work, because we've seen, at least like this happened in last split, this happened in this split too. He picks Irelia into things that just Irelia does not beat. He picks it into Renekton as well, which is like the Irelia counter, right? And he still smashes people with it. So I obviously, like, I'm not the drafter for this team, but if this was me, I would just not let him have that unless you're triple banning Bishan, because it's just not worth it. You can have the counter pick into it, but it won't work as the game goes on, and we saw that as well. Like, they had the lead early, but once it came to the late game, he was still solo killing people. He was still popping off in the side lane. Like, no one could contest him, and Irelia just got buffed too with the Blade of the Ring King, and we saw that from him as well. So it was just really tough to see, because I think Shaden was the only thing keeping them in a relevant way into game one on his Mordekaiser, and
Mm-hmm.
then the other two
Oh yeah.
games weren't really around him, because he was playing Renekton where his jungler got dumpstered, and then he's playing Shen, which is like a defensive counter matchup, which I personally don't really like.
Shen
I like
easily kill
aggressive counter
Aurelia.
matchups. Say it again.
Shen does a lot of damage in
Yeah,
early phase.
I
He could
agree.
easily kill Aurelia. In my opinion, like these play like the way like I think we're looking at this, like oh this player is a really good Aurelia player, which is it could be true because like everyone has like their champs that they're really good at, but you gotta look at the like these are not like pro players. Like the highest tier players. Like oh he's so good that champion doesn't get beat it. These are like low diamond players. Like yeah he can be good at Aurelia, but if you're a good player, you could just counter pick and shit on them. Like if he was that good at Aurelia, he wouldn't be like where he is right now. You know what I mean? So I feel like him having the Shen counter pick, he should have just shit on that guy. Same deal the last time. If you ever necked him, I really should just be shit on. So in my opinion, it's not that um the Aurelia player played it well, it's the person who had the counter pick played it bad. He's not a good enough player to abuse the advantage he got in draft.
I mean, I think that's fair, but I really do think that B-Ways Irelia is that good, and I've been shown it a bunch of times. So that's the narrative that I'm going to keep pushing
Oh,
because I
maybe
think
I'm
he's
just
very
stupid.
good.
So I don't know.
What'd you
Mhm.
say?
Maybe I'm just wrong. I
mean-
can't be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, maybe I'm wrong. If that was me, I'd shit on them. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
I mean, your
I
Shen
wanna
is
see
pretty
it.
smart. I'm not gonna lie. Shen is really
For the
good.
past 2 weeks.
I'll give you credit.
Thank you.
You
Thank
played
you.
it in their series, so you played it in the last 2 weeks.
I'm only playing Shen the past 2 weeks. Fucking save me.
Okay.
Shen,
Oh
Shen's
yeah,
pretty
true.
fun. Shen,
'Cause
Shen's
you're-
got the Hydra buff, right?
Not for 2 weeks straight.
That's fair.
Uh,
There are a few champions that I would want to play for 2 weeks straight, but you know, I'm not in a amateur league myself, so
You filthy Yumi player.
hey,
I hate that champion. Okay, I'm a support main.
you guys think that you think that I'm stooping to the level of Yumi when really I have ascended to the level of Yumi. Yumi is just far beyond everyone else's perception. Yumi is the way of the future of
You're
League of
right.
Legends.
I don't
I
have
mean-
50 IQ, so I can't play Yumi.
If I want to press 2 buttons, I'm gonna play Soraka. At least I need to move and dodge shit, you know?
Yumi is the way of the future of League of Legends, and you guys just aren't accepting that. So
Alright.
just
I-
you're gonna have to get on that train eventually. Otherwise, you're gonna be left in the dust, man. I don't know what to tell you. Yumi, it's the way.
I don't
I-
ever
I
want to play
think-
that champion.
I think that series. You said it was an upset, right? Kuma losing to Go
I
next. Like
predicted
said before,
Akuma Size to win. Yes.
Mhm.
I
It was an
thought.
upset according
thought
to
Jin would
his
win.
power
No,
rankings.
no,
I
no, I'm
think.
saying like to him. Like I thought Jin would win. I thought they were better.
Thought so as well. Or just for them being
Not
first seed and stuff.
not 3-0 better, but like still better.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so to give a little insight into what I was thinking about that series, up until that point, B-Way's champion pool looked really bad. Like his set was really bad. He couldn't play as Irelia because it wasn't really in the meta, and his
Mhm.
the Mordekaiser, his Mordekaiser looked really bad too. And my major thing when I made that power ranking video was saying that he didn't look as good, and I was hoping that he could be back in form. But at that moment, I couldn't put them higher than that because they usually
Yeah.
do have a lot of strength in their top laner and they rely on him to make the plays. In that time, you could tell he grinded out the set. He looked really good on it in both of the games that he played it. And then his Irelia looked stronger because of the buffs that they received. And that's one of those things where I was really looking at that to be really big because they needed to do that against a player like Shaden, and then he did. He looked really good in all 3 games. And if I knew that he was going to shape up that well, he would not have been in B tier. Like that team would not have been in B tier for me. I would have put them up in A
Yeah.
with Akuma Size first of all, but also like you and Otag and like everyone else I put in that tier. I definitely would have put them there because I think that that's really the difference maker here because Seawolf and Kiwi looked much the same. Messiah is really kind of a wild card to me. Like I didn't really know what to expect. Like I heard a lot of good things about his control mages and they were really good. That's what we saw when he played Syndra both of his games in regular split too. And
His Lissandra was pretty good as well.
his Asanya is really good, yeah. Like
Yeah.
his series is really good. I'm really pleased with that. And then of course Bishan, I knew going into this that Bishan would just have his way with the Rift against Kaz because Bishan is just so far beyond that. And like I've seen it over and over from Bishan that I'm really impressed with Bishan. So I'm not surprised by that, but I am pleasantly surprised that B-Way looks as good as he did. And if, like I said, if I knew that he would, then I likely would have predicted them to win because
Mhm.
that's just who he is as a player, and his set looked really good. So that's a little bit insight onto what I was thinking coming into the matchup. I think I said it a bunch of times that like this is a top lane focus for me personally, and yeah, I'm pleased with my prediction either way because I knew that it would be very momentum based as well. I think that's just how these players and these teams are, these two specifically. So yeah, I'm still pleased with my prediction even though I got it wrong on my power rankings and the prediction itself.
They put us 5th and look. Say.
I
What?
mean,
Never mind. It's shitty joke.
you said you put us. You talked about where? Yeah.
Yeah, it's better.
Don't worry about it.
I didn't even hear you. So
Yeah, it was a joke, but I executed it really poorly. But the timing has passed for the joke to be funny, so there's no point in saying it anymore.
okay, I'll just watch the VOD or
Alright.
something.
I'm a comedic genius, so these are things I have to think about.
Take it
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah,
account
yeah.
before you, yeah.
I'm on the Yumi plane now, so I don't understand these kinds of jokes.
Yes.
I see. You're not in the same realm as
Yeah,
Exactly.
Elvis'
you're right.
mortal
You're at a
jokes.
short bus to school. I understand.
Oh my
Me
god.
player.
Anyway, so on this series here, we got Essentia versus Go Next Gaming. Uh, I already mentioned it before. I've been alluding to it here and also last night. Uh, I think Go Next smashes this
Yep,
pretty
3-0.
hard.
Easy 3-0. Again, Essentials garbage. They do not deserve to be semifinals, in my opinion. I think what's his face? O-Tag is better. I think who the hell do we beat?
Yeah, that's
Gladiators are better. Sites are better. Those three are better than Sunshine. They got really lucky that they
I would
faced
disagree
original
with
fucking
Gladiator.
esports. I think Gladiator is better
Uh,
than them because Gladiator
Possibly.
actually
I
has a
think they're
good
better than them
player.
too.
Ascentia does not have a single good player. So by simple math, 1 is greater than 0. So Gladiator is just better.
I mean, I disagree with that. I think Essentia on the opposite as possibly great players that don't play that well together right now.
So they don't have any great players then.
Man, I mean,
That's a
That's like
fair
saying
point.
it's for sure that if Essentia plays like they played in quarters, they have no reason to be there.
but when were
Like, they
they
have no
good?
place in that.
I never understood why people thought they were good. Like even in regular season, I thought they were garbage, and I was correct because we shit on them twice. So when are they?
I mean, they got first seed hype as well as not dropping a game to anyone outside of us.
They got first seed because we FF'd the game, and first
I
game we ever
admit.
played. The first game we ever played, I bought Moby Boots and ran it down to see if we could still win. We could not.
I mean, I played 2 games of mid. By the second time, they realized that I could only play Galio and Bandit, and then we kind of lost to that as well.
To be like that sometimes. Hey, we're not here to talk about us.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think they're garbage.
Yeah.
I think it's easy 3-0 for next.
I think it's also going to be a 3-0 for Go Next, but I don't think Essentia's garbage. They did win with Nasus, and that requires
Yeah.
at least some level of strength.
Oh, I'm a NASA's expertise. You have no fucking clue.
I think
Pull
Nasus
it
can
out.
be a good counter pick, but I don't think
fuck
the
no.
second time they picked it, like
Yeah,
the second Nasus draft was so bad.
I agree.
They had
I think
3
they
losing
agree
lanes
too.
and an orange jungle. So of course the Nasus is not gonna do much there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I do think that Ascentia could possibly shape up to be better. Because I know Yellow can be better than this. He's my friend, and he's gonna watch this and hate me for saying this. But I know he can do much better than this. One of his strengths is how well he plays team fights, which I don't even think he did that well in that series. And it's a question of whether Ascensia pulls back and actually, if they would, I don't know, if they would like get better cohesion or play better, maybe it's because Orbit is new and he's not fitting in it completely. Maybe that's
Diesel's
it.
relatively new too.
Yeah, but
He's garbage.
maybe like it's really unlucky that Laxon and I don't want to flame Orbit because I actually think Orbit played really well in their first 2 games.
Yeah,
And
not
then
the third one.
played pretty bad in the third one, and then yeah. But the first 2 games, I was genuinely impressed because I thought at first that Ascentia was gonna 3-0, and I was like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Like he's doing really well. And then yeah.
Based
like,
on your
Laxon,
profile picture, I assume you are also a Rakan player.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
am a Rakan player as well, and that game made me pretty sad.
Wasn't it, Chief?
It
wasn't it.
It was certainly not.
Yeah, but especially since I know Yellow is a very good Zaya player. So it's unlucky because it's probably one of his best champions in team fights and stuff. That if they can get that lane to work, they would look much better. And it's just about either Essentia is not playing with their bot lane well, their bot lane is not playing well with them. But if they can get that element to click, I think they could take game.
Yeah.
So it would. I'm gonna predict 3-1 for Go Next. I think Essentia steals a game, but I actually think that Essentia might win 3-2 if they actually pull it back. But it's very unlikely, and they're probably gonna get 3-1 or 3-0, then just fall out and roll over and die.
Yeah, I think
But it's not oblique. Like they can do it. It's just about whether they do it or not. Like they need to wake up. It's past the point where they can play like that.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying before, if Essentia becomes one of those teams that has the go button on all 5 members, like the
Mhm.
rest of the teams that are in semis, then yeah, I agree. They're going to look a lot better. But from what I've been shown of them, they just don't have that. And the other 3 teams do, and their opponent does. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's going to be really tough. And I think that Go Next is a lot more multifaceted than Original was in their matchup, too.
I think
Um,
so as well.
so,
I mean, I did say that original would have won, and probably could have been better than Essentia. So I can't trash talk
yeah,
them and say that they're gonna win.
I
But
can.
yeah,
I knew Original would be bad.
yeah. I mean, they weren't. Yeah,
They were not great.
they were not great, but they had like flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
They had moments where they look very good.
Yeah, they
There are moments
surprised
where
me.
they look. Yeah, they look like a good 5-man unit at times. They look like they had like very good moments.
Yeah.
They alternated Essentia all like 2 or 3 of the games. They alternated Essentia so hard that they literally just stumped them.
I
Well,
agree.
one of the stump was that like Original had room to be a good team, to be like a better team than Ascension is, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think
They
so.
weren't that.
I think they just didn't
weren't-
prep enough stuff. Like they had the entire split too, and they never thought to
Yeah.
prep a different team style a single time.
Mhm,
I think that
exactly.
bit them really hard.
Playing
I
the
think
same
that's
way all
0 good players. Happening.
on the Original.
On Original.
Or
On Sacha, sorry, no. Original has good has
I think the ball line of Original is really good.
They're
But
okay. I think I expect Original to win that series, honestly, but 3-2. I was very close, but
True.
yeah.
I was like a fucking bearing away from that prediction being true.
But then again, OTAG would have won against both of these teams for sure.
I think so too.
Gladiator, if Griffin played better than he did, yes.
Hmm.
Well, Griffin's against Striker, so he
Yeah,
definitely
he would have.
Yeah.
I mean,
understand like,
it depends which striker he faces, but the striker that we saw there, yes.
because Griffin played against junglers better than him, and all of his lanes were outclassed. So it's really, like
Yeah.
obviously he will look bad.
Lane Kingdom.
Yeah, not his fault that we're just so fucking good. It's not his fault. I can't really
But yeah.
blame him that much.
So
5th best top laner in semis, by the way. Just want to
Does
point that
have-
out, according to
yeah,
people.
There you go.
big
All right.
chance.
Well, we got our predictions out there for this semi as well. Let's hop into some questions. I haven't taken a look at these yet. I've got it on my phone though. I realized that I can do that. So
yes.
Nice. Big brain.
that's big brain. Let me see. So what do we have here? We got
want us to
one
pick?
from Steel City. He asked, which
I
team
mean-
do you want to win, not think will win? I want you,
It's-
the Great Smack's personal favorite team. And I of course don't have any personal favorite team, of course.
I don't believe that. I think
am-
I know who's your favorite.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it's Katanas.
Yeah, it's Katanas.
Yeah. I don't have a personal favorite. Don't
I mean,
say
it's
that.
okay to have a favorite.
You're the club in league. Like, I don't want to hear.
I
you
am
have
in
a
their club.
favorite.
So the reason that they're my personal favorite is because I watched them play Last Split 2 when they were a team called Asian Invasion. And
Oh, that's a great name.
yeah, they played the game in a very, very fun way. And I have been a fan of theirs ever since. But that does not affect my predictions. Like I said before,
No, I know.
I
It's
went
just questions
back.
and predictions, though.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I talk to those guys all the time. I like them. Specifically, like Forbidden and I are pretty close. I would say. Like I've been giving him my support champions that like I think are really good, and he's been playing them out. He's been pulling them out in their games and stuff. Like I told him about the Galio because Laxon told me about the Galio, and then I was like, hey Forbidden, you should play this Galio, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll play the Galio. And then he's been like smashing on that. He's also ascended to the Yumi plane with me. So
Yeah, ascended. Yeah.
yeah, shout out to Chris.
Ascended, not descended.
But yeah, I like all those guys. So yes, admittedly, I have a personal favorite team. But
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
as
I'll
a
go for it,
spectator, that is my favorite team. So,
yeah. Fair enough.
but my second favorite spectator team is everyone else.
That sucks. That's a
Yeah.
cop out answer.
Okay, that's actually not true.
Didn't you say that Soulbound was better?
If I had to order the teams at which like I think that they are fun to watch, it'd be Katanas, the four left. Katanas, then Soulbound, then Go Next, then Ascentia.
Yeah, fair.
I
I'd
agree
say the
with that.
same except swap hours. But yeah, I like
That's fair.
Soulbound and Ascension Katanas.
I I I like the original guys, but I hate watching them play because they always play the same. Um, I I also don't really like watching sides play because they
You
always
don't have
get
to
so
anymore.
angry. I don't have to anymore. That's true. They always get so angry at each other. And like we interviewed them after their win, and they were so sad after playing Jet Black. Um, I, but yeah, I really like watching OTA Glacials because I really like their bot lane. I think they're phenomenal as a bot lane duo.
They
Who
really
else? Who
are.
else we got? I like watching Griffin, but I don't like watching any of their other players on Lost Collective.
They're all garbage. I had first-hand experience.
Um,
Tower diving me as Orn. Like,
I think that's all of the semifinals teams. I think. Yeah. So I'll stop it there. But anyway, as a spectator, those are my opinions. Don't take that personally.
I don't think personally. I understand. I expected that Katanas to be first because I knew.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think I tell people that like I tell people like my outside of game biases, I guess, but I don't let that affect my predictions and
Predictions,
stuff.
yeah.
I think see, people can think that, but they can also be wrong.
Yeah, I got a nice question from here from my boy Benjamin. Best player per team in your main teams, I assume. Not gonna do all
Ooh,
fucking
okay.
teams.
So this is a little bit of a spoiler as to another thing we're going to be doing this week. Uh, Myself and all of the
Captains?
the
Analyst?
captains, I guess, the captains or the team managers or the team owners or what have you, are all going to compile a list and a video together about specific players that we're hyped about seeing in the remaining matches. So, good question, really good question. We're gonna answer it in a separate video.
How about me and Aerys answer it? Because we're not gonna be in that
Aerys is gonna
video.
be in that video.
I am
Oh,
gonna
I'll
be in
fucking
it.
answer that question. Okay, this is all on me. Alright,
All on you.
Alright, so I'll go with Soulbound first. I'm not gonna I'm gonna give a serious answer. I think Ben is our best player,
Which
for
Ben?
sure.
Best turtle.
I keep forgetting we have two Bens. Best turtle, I think he's our best player for sure. If I had to rank our players, it would be him, Steel City Warrior. I think North and Havoc are tied, and then fuck it, there's me, whatever. Anyway, next team is who is it? Katanas.
Sure.
Again,
There's no
hate
order
for me
here.
hate for me to say it. Shockful is their best. For who the hell is
There's Go Next and
Ascension?
Ascentia.
Yeah, go next. The jungler. Who's going next jungler? That dude. He's
Bishan.
their best player. Yeah, he's their best player. I think he carries games. And Ascentia. My God, they're all so shit. But which one's the least shittiest?
I'm not
God,
gonna
it's so
answer that
hard
for
actually.
you.
Can I say Laxon?
You can say Laxon.
you
Laxon.
can't even.
Laxon is the best player in that team. Bring
Okay.
him back. That's my
Fair
answer.
enough. All right. Well, if you want our answers to that question for Aerys and I, then be sure to tune in whenever that next video drops. We haven't really planned it out yet at all, but
Alright.
we have to get Tron in on it too. I don't know if he's in on it, but Tron, if you're listening, please be in on it. Anyway, let's see.
Oh, this one's pretty good. It's from Striker. Who was overrated and who was underrated coming to playoffs? I don't know if this means teams or players.
Probably
But-
a little bit of both. Obviously for me, it's pretty easy because I had a power ranking that I released. So obviously overrated is Lost Collective and underrated is Go Next.
Fair enough.
I think that's a pretty free answer for me.
Would you rank Lost Collective?
After that,
No. Where'd you rank Lost Collective?
I put them fourth.
Okay, above
Right,
us.
right in front of us.
I
Yes.
put you
They
at
lost.
fifth. Yes, but
Yeah, well,
you're
I'll answer
you're
that.
all in the same tier.
Yeah, A tier. Yeah. For me, the most overrated team, Katanas is overrated. In my opinion. I don't think they're good. Okay, they're not bad, but I don't think they're as good as everyone says. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're very overhyped. In my opinion, they're good, but
They
not
do get a
as
lot of
good.
hype. They do get a lot of hype.
I'm not calling them shit. I'm saying they're not as good as the hype. That's it. I think they're overrated because everyone knows. Like, I think because you said Gladiators was overhyped, but I don't think they are because they unfortunately got matched get up against the best team in the league. So it's not really their fault. They lost quarters. So that's my overrated team.
Okay.
Aerys?
All right.
You had an
Yeah.
underrated?
I was thinking. Sorry. Overrated. I think. I'm gonna start with the underrated. I'm gonna say go next. Same reason.
Mhm.
They were rated pretty low by both me and you because I think I made a power ranking. I just didn't send it because I'm an idiot. But I ranked them pretty low as well. I guess I didn't know about them that much. I don't know. I wasn't convinced, but they look really strong yesterday at least.
Right.
They look much more convincing than what I gave them credit for. So them for sure. They're gonna be happy that we say that. I can't say them, see them in the questions. But and the most overrated, I'm gonna say Ascentia. I think even if people rank them low, like decently high for first seed, a lot of people rank them above us. A lot of people rank them much higher than you did in your power ranking. And I don't know. It if they look like that, yeah. We're not
Yeah.
gonna go in it again. I don't want to flame them too much. I have a friend
They're
of
the
that
worst. They're the worst
he's got,
first seed team for sure. They're the
I
worst
mean,
team in not in playoffs, but like they're not
they're not
first
the
seed
worst team
worthy.
in playoff. That
No,
I
no,
would
no, no,
disagree
no.
with that, but yeah.
They're not like
Like
they're not a first seed team.
as we said, Lost Collective, OTAG, and what other team was I thinking? Lost Collective, OTAG, and sites, all of them would beat Essentia if they were matched against them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think all three of these teams could like to have the most perfect semifinals possible with only the best teams. Would one of these teams would have been in instead of them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm toxic, so I'm sorry.
I mean,
But
I had them pretty low too. So
yeah,
I
I
agree
yeah,
with
agree.
you with underrated. Go next, definitely.
yeah.
I always thought they're the second best team in the league before playoffs began. That's my opinion. So
I think they're third. I think it's you, Katanas, and then them.
I think they are third now as well, but obviously my order is
I
different.
mean, third depending on where we place OTAG, because I think OTAG would have been third or fourth, depending
Oh
on
yeah. So
yeah.
I was talking about the
If we
remaining
count
four.
like if we count the remaining teams, they are third. If we count all the teams in the matchup, they're the third or fourth. So
Yeah.
they don't
I
move that
would
much,
I would
even with the
put
team up.
OTAG above them. I don't know if I would put OTAG above you. I probably wouldn't. So
definitely not. We're the best.
I'd probably put
I don't
OTAG
think
at
so.
third.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's how it would change now. A little sneak peek into the power rankings there. Let's see. Do we have everything else? That was from Striker, by the way. Oh yeah, Elvis did say that. Yeah.
What about
There
what
was
players? Can you not do that?
there was someone
Players.
that that Tony also asked, Tony being Sassy Warrior, I'm sorry. Also a little discussion about the best division now that we see all the semifinalists.
Oh yeah.
Because I had a point about
Okay.
that, I forgot.
Yeah, we
Because
can talk about the best division. So, I think the major thing to take away from this uh, this round of the playoffs is that Thursday as a whole was not far and away the best.
Who's on Thursday? Jet Black's division.
No,
yeah, no,
Jet Black was Aether, Scythes,
that was
and Lost
Saturday,
Collective.
right?
Saturday's garbage. Yeah.
Saturday was really bad. Saturday was only Katanas.
Thursday
Yeah,
was who?
exactly.
Go next and who else?
No.
Or did not? I got
Thursday
this
is
wrong.
Thursday's
Third it is.
Aether, Lost Collective Gladiators, and Akuma Scythes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
overrated. Yeah.
I mean, I still think they probably are the second best division by default. Because one of the thing is our division was trashed as being the worst for so long. But our division was just very polarized. The top two teams were decently good.
No,
And
top one. And not
I mean,
Essential. Us.
okay, if you compare Ascension to the rest of the league, they're good. You need to agree
Yeah,
with that. Like, look at the
I
division.
agree.
If they're okay, think about the division where I'm gonna be toxic, where Jet Black got second. All the teams below
Jesus
them
Christ,
are
how does
below
that happen?
Ascension.
Emma.
So, and I don't
Can't
want
even
to
play
flame Jet
game.
Black. I
I
think
do.
Jet Black has rooms to be
No, they don't.
good,
The
but
Cam
they.
and Emma have no hope. They cannot be better than gold players. Well, the Cams are like a mid plat player. They can't. They have no hope.
I disagree with that. I think Zakam is pretty good, and I think they have
Yeah.
room to be a good team. I think they're good players. They just didn't look good as a team. Is my
Wait,
take on it.
who's sending division?
Because
Who's
even
on that?
Emma played well in their matches. I think like she played decently well.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think so too.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think of the teams that are like really worth talking about as being really competitive, I still think that Thursday has the most, and I think
Yeah.
just based on that, that puts them at the best still.
exactly.
But I
I
think
mean,
that
Sunday?
they're
Who's Sunday?
Sunday
is the
had Go Next, OTA, Glacials, and Original.
I think that's the best
They're the
division.
best division. Yeah.
I think Sunday's the
Um,
best.
I think it goes Sunday,
I don't.
Thursday, us, and then Saturday.
See,
Yeah, I
my
just.
thing is I still think that Original sucks.
I think they're fine.
I.
Well, they lost to
I
Ascentia.
mean,
Actually, you're correct.
I think. I mean, original is better than some of the other teams.
In Thursday, I don't think any team in Thursday would lose to them.
Yeah.
Jet
Yeah.
Black?
Maybe Lost Collective if Griffin's not looking very good.
No, I don't think so.
But I think Aether would have beat them
even-
pretty easily, and I think
yeah.
Size also would have beat them really easily.
Yeah. I mean, Aether is another good team that got kicked out super early because they got an unlucky matchup.
I agree.
Because I think Aether could have at least made quarters,
Yep.
and would have been looking good against most of these teams.
They definitely got the toughest matchup.
Yeah.
Like that was a really, really tough one.
I mean, no, they didn't, because they didn't get us. But
I mean, no, they couldn't have gotten you. Oh wait, no, they could have. Never mind.
We could have picked them,
Yeah,
but
you could have
that would have been.
That would have been super int.
People are saying that our division is like really, really good. Like not as Joe, like T-Time's saying it. Like Tony was saying it too. I think our division was garbage.
It was.
Yeah.
I think we
You-
bring it
you
up by a
just-
lot.
You just glanced down below third, because I think Imperial Knights was as much flame as they get. They could have possibly made like third or fourth in other divisions. I think they would have made playoffs in the Thursday division, not the
Not
is
the Thursday division.
not the Thursday, yeah. And,
They
the
would have made
Saturday
it in
division.
Saturday division. Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
Like they are not as bad as people make them to be. They have like good players in some positions, and they have rooms to be good. But you just glance down below them, and it jumps down a cliff.
I agree.
Like even them are not that great compared to the rest of the other playoffs teams. They would not have made playoffs in like the Thursday division and stuff. But like below them, like any of the other teams, well, first of all the teams that dropped, all the teams that like if you can't make playoffs with the amount of free wins that we got, it's just not it. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just-
I think that my perception of the divisions, the only thing that's shifted in a really major way is the Thursday, but I think that I would still put them as number one. So if I were to order them right now, I would put, like, holistically speaking, not just like what teams I think are really good, just number of teams. I think Thursday is number one, then Sunday, and then I would put Friday actually, and then Saturday, because there's only one good Saturday team, I think.
There's also only one good Friday team. I guess we are
I think
better than
Ascentia is.
Saturday
I think
team, so-
Ascentia is significantly better than Jet Black.
Okay, yeah,
I
you're
agree.
right. Okay, yeah, sorry, yeah, definitely. Like,
I
Jet
mean-
Black's garbage.
what are the Ascension would beat Deep Fish Taco as well.
Yep.
And some of the other teams that were in playoffs. Like they're not like we're trash talking them because they're bad for a first seed, but they're not bad when you compare it to like second
I'm
and
trash
third
talking
seeds.
them because T-Time set out the 5th best top laner in semis, and he said if we face them again in a best of 5, we will shit on them. However, he went to game 5 in 5
mean-
games versus Original Esports, so I don't think that's true.
I'm pretty sure
T-Time-
he shifted because you need to remember that when we faced them the first time, we were trolled all for our games. He didn't know how good we were, and he only had lost once to us, which when he took us lightly. That's when he said that. That was before our other games against them.
Like game 2.
I mean, not again anyway, but like with the success that you guys had, his views must have shifted.
No,
For sure.
No, trust me.
That he's trash talking you. I'm sure that
He's
he
not has
thinks.
shifted. This dude
I'm-
says I'm the 5th best top laner. He says I am the best.
Yeah, but we're not
Okay.
talking about you. We're talking about the
I
team.
am.
So yeah, in my perspective here, the reason that we're kind of low on Essentia overall in this podcast, because we're at the top
Shit talk me.
4. We're at the top 4 right now, and they are top 8. I don't think they're top 4. If it's
Yeah.
just power rankings.
Yeah.
I mean,
agree.
They're probably
Bottom
6th or
5.
7th. Yeah, well, that's pretty much top 8. Yeah.
Yeah,
Stupid.
exactly. So
Yeah.
so yeah, like they weren't really getting it last round because I don't think it was warranted because they were a top 8 team, but now that we're in top 4, I think They got a pretty easy ride, and I don't think that they're a top 14. Like I think
I mean,
I
with
think
the system and the fact that you get to pick like that, and that a lot of matchups are forced because of you can pick from your division.
right.
I think it kind of rigs for some teams to get a free ride like that.
Yeah, a little bit. But
It's yeah.
it is what it is. We might be switching it up next split. I
Mhm.
don't know. for
Yeah.
for me personally, I don't
If
know
you don't,
how
I
that's gonna
surely
work.
don't.
Yeah. But anyway, so let's look. Is there any other question that you guys like looked at? And
Well, somebody asked, how'd you change the top 20? But I assume you're talking about that in the other podcast, right?
Yeah.
yeah, we might.
I mean,
Well, it's gonna be more player focused on that one, so we probably will. But yeah,
All I'm going to
that's a
say
really
is,
big topic,
all I'm going
obviously.
to say is the fact that I'm not in the top 20 is bonkers. Put fucking fancy Italian above me. Did you put Diesel in there? I don't
No,
remember.
I didn't put
there's a
these
Okay,
in
couple.
good.
there.
Put any top laner in there, because that means that's wrong.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay. So let's close it out with this last question here. This one's from Yellow. He asks, "What is the most interesting matchup that has happened so far in the playoffs?"
uh,
I assume.
interesting. I think it was Ascentia versus Original. That game was, I was definitely, that was an intense game. I'll give him that. Especially that last fucking game. Like, holy shit. That was interesting.
So,
It
uh,
depends what you mean by
yeah,
interesting.
exactly. So if I were to define interesting in this case, it would be something where like I would remember this and talk about it for like next split if we were gonna do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And for something like that, I don't think Essentia Original makes the cut for me. Um, I
Would it
think
be then for you?
I think last night would though. I think Akuma Sites versus Go Next would make the cut because that was kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But also like for me, it was really interesting to see Akuma Katanas versus Otag because on my Power Ranking that was my top two, and that's just going to be my answer I think for this because um, it really was it was interesting in the way that Katanas looked less good than I thought they would, and like
Mm-hmm.
and I did think that Otag was the second best, but it definitely changed my perception a little bit of Katanas, and it made me realize that like I had them on probably too high of a pedestal leading up to this. Like I wouldn't knock them at all in terms of like my power ranking or anything. I still think they're the only S tier team. Like I think that at this point
Really?
Soulbound I think that Soulbound's the second best team, but I'd still put it at the top of A. I personally for
Alright.
me
To prove it. To prove it, I'll take it.
personally for me I would still keep them as the only team in S tier, but I think that I had them a little bit too high for me personally, but because realistically speaking, OTA Glacial's mid jungle synergy was ass. It was so bad in all of the games they've
Yeah.
played. Their
Mm-hmm.
their top laner was really on and off, and his champion pool kind of spelled that out as well. And OTA, like their bot lane's really the major shining light, and they did actually do really well against Forbidden in June, which I wasn't really expecting. Even though I know that Atinio and Merc are so good, I was expecting June and Forbidden to just stomp that out. And whether or not that's Katana's looking less good on the day or something else like externally that we don't know, it looked like OTA's bot lane was actually like really turning on and really stepping it up in a way that I hadn't even seen from them quite yet. And I'm really sad that we didn't get to see Atinio Merc against like another bot lane or another team in general, or maybe just on a different team themselves that didn't have the mid jungle issues. So yeah, I this is something that I'm going to look back at, and especially if Atinio and Merc come back to Phoenix Rising for next split, I'm going to look back and think like, wow, like these two guys on a different team I'm really excited for that because of how well they did against Katanas. So that's going to be my answer here.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if by interesting we mean entertaining, it is for sure Soulbound versus LC Gladiators.
Yeah.
I mean, I am biased in a way, but like even if I'm completely trying to be unbiased here, just pure entertainment value, you had Griffin invading, being aggressive, everything. There was team fights every 2 seconds.
Oh
Like
shit, that
that
was
was
funny.
that
It was
was
like
so
it was
fun
like
to
a
watch.
level
Like that,
2 team fight.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
they're team fighting. They're diving at the second tower. Like it was nonstop for the entirety of the time. And props to Gladiators for that, for trying to match Soulbound in that way. I don't think that it should have, but it
Yeah,
made
I
one
don't think
hell of
so
a
either.
spectacle. It was so fun.
Yeah,
It
it was
was
really fun.
yeah.
I think quarterfinals had a lot of really
Mhm.
fun spectating matches, and I think that if it's that, then Akuma Katana's OT Glaciers is not on
Yeah,
the list.
yeah.
But
But
like
if we
that
think
match was
about
crazy.
hype,
The match last night was crazy too. So
hmm yeah, if we think about hype, like how hype a matchup was, I would say the same. Katanas
yeah,
versus Glacials. That was the
For
most hype
hype,
matchup.
hype for me was Ascentia versus original. That game was fucking great.
Yeah.
I was
I
having a
Well,
blast.
full
hype for me was
transparency, I was not excited to watch that at all, and it was
Uh,
warranted by the
yeah, that
gameplay
game
yeah.
too.
was fun.
I mean, I liked the. At first, I was very entertained by that series. The first two games looked very convincing. I thought Ascension was going to 3-0 and
Yeah, I thought
everything,
they
but then
would. I left the stream and I come back like 45 minutes later. I'm like, oh shit, they're
like we trashed Ascension during that podcast a lot. But if they play like those two first games and then they get a good third game, they could look like a good team. Like they
Yeah,
look very good at first. Those two first games super convincing. Granted, the first one they had a jungler kind of giving the game to them.
right.
That was unlucky. But still, like they played very well themselves. It wasn't just that. They also punished very well. They played very well. And then yeah, they just went into game three and kind of just said, let's make it interesting, I guess. They wanted one best of three not to be best of five not to be 3 games, so they got it. They gave it to us.
Yeah. I really liked the quarterfinals as a whole. I'm really excited going into the semis. I think both matchups are going to be pretty sick, and we're getting them back-to-back days as well, which isn't really guaranteed because of the formatting and everything.
Yeah.
So, gonna be pretty cool. Gonna be a really fun weekend here. I have to take a break playing Animal Crossing to to watch some of that, but I'm really excited for it. So, so yeah, you guys have any closing remarks or shout outs before we close out the podcast here?
shout out to everyone who thought we were dog shit and says you're gonna get knocked out in playoffs first round. And shout out to everyone who thinks I'm dog shit and I'm gonna shit on all of you. That's it.
Fair enough.
I mean, shout out to my boy Brian if you made it that far. I'm sorry for trash talking you. Now prove me wrong and actually play the game, you monkey. All right.
All right. Well, with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in here to this episode of the SmaxTalk Podcast, the quarterfinals episode with Aerys and Elvis. Appreciate you guys coming on so much. I'm really glad we got Elvis on the podcast. You know, big meme, but
Finally.
yeah, I'm really
I mean,
excited. I'm really excited you guys came on. I always love getting diversity from like each team and everything. That's why I did the whole top 20 thing as I did as well. So yeah, but yeah, speaking of that, be sure to tune in for the next episode, which is going to be coming out in the next couple of days. That's going to be about each individual player on the teams that are going into semis, and I'm really excited for that one. We're going to be getting a lot of different takes on that one too. One person from each team and myself. So that's going to be really exciting. If you guys are interested into more player-specific content and stuff like that, be sure to tune in for that. I'll have a better idea as to when that's going to be released in a little bit, so I'll probably let you guys know when that's going to be released at some point on the day or something like that. But till then, thanks for listening in. Be sure to tune in on Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. for the matchups. It's going to be Soulbound versus Akuma Katanas and Ascentia versus Go Next Gaming. Going to be some bangers, but we also have our Odyssey League the 2 nights before. They're also in semifinals, so that's going to be pretty cool too. We got 4 back-to-back-to-back-to-back. And we're actually streaming those this time, so that's going to be pretty cool if you guys want to tune in to that. We got a whole bunch of action here for your coronavirus quarantine hours. But with that, we're going to close out the podcast. Thanks for listening in. We'll see you all next time on the SmaxTalk Podcast. See you later.